And welcome to Tackle the Board. I'm Reese, the Vegas line reader, joined by my co-host, Chris Euksuzian. You can find him at Chris Ebom. I actually had a good weekend on Sunday last week. I went 2-0, ended up having the Giants who won outright and the Chargers. So we've been very selective the past couple of weeks. Chris also went 2-1 on his picks. He had the Titans, and who was the other one? The Packers. So you went 1-1, but then you had the first half on the Titans, so you went 2-1 last week, and then 5-1 in your last 2 weeks. So you've been hot. We've been very selective picking our games on the show here, and the playoffs are coming up. We're each going to pick our favorite pick for this weekend for the playoffs. You excited for the playoffs?
Yeah, I can't wait. Wildcard weekend finally here. We had a great regular season, and a little cherry on top. I was a 4-0 in bowl games on New Year's Day. We swept the board, so that was a great feeling as well. And we're going to keep that momentum going for the wildcard weekend.
All right, let's have you jump into the first game, and this is your favorite top pick for the football games this weekend. You got the Baltimore Ravens are -3.5 at the Tennessee Titans. But you like the first half, which is the Baltimore Ravens -2.5.
Yeah, this is my favorite play on the board. Baltimore still being favored in this game after getting beaten the last 2 times, especially in the playoffs where they got embarrassed last year. And then they actually met up this year and they lost to the Titans again in overtime. Now Baltimore's a favorite on the road. I think there's going to be a lot of big revenge factor here. And when I look at it here, Tennessee, while you have Tractor Cito, who runs the ball very well, Baltimore can counter that as well. They're ranked second in points against, 8th in rushing yards held, and 6th in passing yards per game. So their defense is on point. They're going to be really pissed off for this game. On the other hand, Tennessee Titans, they're 24th in points against, rush yards for the opposing team, 19th in NFL, so a little worse than average. And their pass defense is ranked 29th. Even Lamar should be able to throw on these guys, especially to the tight end. I think it's going to spell disaster for them. I think you're going to get a well-coached Harbaugh team that's going to be pissed, that's going to take it to them. Last time they actually played this year, the Ravens were actually up in this game. They were up 14-10 at halftime. So I like the fact that they can get on this team early, control the clock with their run game. I know Tennessee likes to do that as well, but this defense will be ready for them, and I think they're going to make a big statement in this first half. I just love the Ravens here at -2.5. I think they could definitely be up at least a field goal, if not more, this first half. And I think the line tells it all. I wouldn't be shocked if Baltimore actually blows them out this game.
Yeah, that is a good pick. I think that's solid. And I always love looking at the playoffs from last year. You had the Titans who beat them, and the Titans overachieved last year. Now they're worse on defense, and now you got the Ravens who definitely want revenge, like you said. So that's definitely a solid spot there. And if they do come out sloppy, I don't see the Ravens winning. So for them taking them first half, they should be playing solid and should cover the game too, So they should be playing good in the beginning of the game is what I'm saying. That's why it's a solid pick. So I'll jump into my favorite pick for this weekend. It's going to be the Saints, Chicago Bears at New Orleans Saints -9.5. Some spreads are at 9.5, some are at 10, but doesn't really matter. I get the best spread, but I would say this is going to be a blowout type of game. These teams met up early in the season. The Saints ended up losing that game. I actually had the Bears in that spot, but it was just a tough spot for the Saints. They've been hurt all throughout the beginning of the season. They were banged up. In that game, the Saints were actually 2 for 13 on third downs, and they still scored 26 points in that game. The Saints got knocked out early last year. They'll be pissed this year, getting knocked out by the Vikings. So I see them improving this year. People just don't realize how much more improved the Saints are this season, how they're actually built for the playoffs. Last year, they were 16th in rushing yards. This year, they're improved. They're actually 6th in rushing yards. And then on defense, they were ranked 11th in yards allowed. This year, they're ranked now 4th in yards allowed. So 2 big things that I look for in the playoffs is defense and the running game. And whenever you see those, the Saints are supposed to be a team that gets a bye here, but with the new rules with the playoffs, they're the 2 seed. They're not getting a bye, but this is a bye team. Whenever you see the wild card, those teams make it to the next round. the Bears are not on their level, and they play a team like the Saints that can run the ball and play defense. I think it's just going to be a blowout type of game here. So I would take the Saints. And I actually think the Saints are going to make the Super Bowl. It just seems like a year where this might be Drew Brees' last year. And, every time we see these Super Bowls, the defense, they just step up and play great for these quarterbacks. The quarterbacks don't even win it. You remember Peyton Manning and these type of Super Bowls that get won with just the defense winning the game. So love the Saints here, -9.5, -10. Get it early right now at -9.5 if you guys can. So those are our two favorite picks. Chris loves the Ravens -2.5 for the first half, and I love the Saints. Take the full spread -9.5, -10 in that game. And again, we're just going to give our top picks the rest of the playoffs, though. So next week we'll actually give our top picks as well. Next week, was there any other games you just wanted to touch on or talk about real quick?
Yeah, I find it pretty interesting. I know the line keeps climbing up on the Cleveland at Pittsburgh game. I know there's some COVID issues with the head coach and some other people that we're not really sure of yet. I don't know if it's going to be really a lot of big important players for this game. The news still hasn't come out for it. It's up to 6.
There's a offensive guards out for this game. So I guess a couple offensive linemen are hurt. So I don't know how much that's going to affect maybe their run game. But it's glad you touched on this game because this was like probably the only game else I wanted to touch on too because of the coach being out. I think that's a huge factor of him being out, I think, because Baker Mayfield, he just needs those great play calls, Without that and a pass rush, he just seems to just look awful. I remember last year how bad he looked against a pass rush. So getting out in those easy passes that they put him in. So hopefully, I don't know what's going on with the play calling. Hopefully they get some good play calling like they did all season. But I just saw a quick tidbit. One of the receivers, I think it's Higgins, I guess he got called speed racing, so that's out there. They're getting a lot of drama coming out this week for some reason. So
yeah,
a lot coming out for them. Doesn't look good.
I just don't know that if Pittsburgh can really cover this kind of spread, though. That's the thing.
That's why I almost took it, but I wouldn't trust the Steelers, like you said.
I just don't know. I don't think their offense has looked that well. Their run game is obsolete. They're the worst in rushing yards per game. I don't know. I just feel like this might be a chance where you might be able to take Cleveland on a premium getting these points. I understand the coach is out, and I think it's kind of a big deal. But I think his offensive coordinator can at least, relay something of like what the game plan is. They are working at it. They know this team better than anybody. So I don't think it's going to be as big of a factor with the head coach. I just think that now you're getting even more value with the Browns. And I already kind of liked the Browns before all this hoopla, sort of getting 4 points anyway. Now I'm going to be getting 6. I could almost lean here with the Browns.
Yeah, that's true. And then there's a couple other games. We had the Bucks and Washington. A lot of big spreads for these wild card games. Washington, they don't really impress me. They had that win against the Steelers, but that was when the Steelers were everyone got hurt on their team. Mm-hmm. Washington doesn't really have a statement win. So there's no way I really see the Bucks losing that game. And I think they can control that game pretty easily. What do you like in that game? Anything?
I like actually the over in this game at 45. I think it's low because there's a public perception of Washington not being able to score. I have the stats right in front of me. They are ranked 20th in scoring, but it always seems like Tampa Bay tends to play their competition. Sometimes they start off slow, where you can get ahead of them early, and then that just starts the points left and right with Tom Brady and everything. And I think Tom Brady can put up a good amount of points against a pretty decent defense.
That's true.
But I think they're going to get their points one way or another, and now they're pissing off Tom Brady. Chase Young is pretty much saying, like, oh, I'm going after Tom Brady and stuff, and I don't think that's, like, the best thing you want to do against one of the greatest. So I like the over 45. It's one of the lowest on the board, but I think you're going to get points with Tom Brady, and I think you could maybe even get 30 with him at this point. So I think Washington can score a little bit on them, even though their defense has been real solid this year, Tampa Bay. But I always feel like even when they play like Atlanta and like certain teams like that, they always play their competition, and then points are going to pile up because it's going to go back and forth a little bit. So I like if I had to lean something here, I would lean the over.
Yeah, that's a smart play. Yeah, remember Brady was just putting up a bunch of points against all the average competition all year. It's whenever he faces the elite teams is when he has trouble.
Exactly.
And then I mean, the Seahawks Rams, we don't know if Goff's playing. That's a game where I was thinking about taking. I like the under in the game, but both games went under earlier in the season. I mean, the Seahawks defense has been playing better. It's just weird how the defense was terrible beginning of the season, then the offense was great. Now it's like flip-flop. Now the offense is just playing just average, not scoring anything, and the defense is actually playing pretty well. So I would just lean under in that game. The way the spread is, the spread's -4. So you got to think that Goff, it's got to affect them because the Rams were +1 the last matchup on the road. Now they're +4. So somebody knows something here that Goff might not play. So who do you like in this game?
Yeah, so I'm looking at this game. I love what the Rams have been doing on defense all year. They're probably my favorite defense this year. They get after it constantly. Number 1 in passing yards for the defense, 3rd in rush defense, number 1 points against, hence why the over-under's real low. And they've been holding Seattle pretty strong for the most part. You touch up on it. Russell Wilson really hasn't been himself like he was the first half of the season, MVP-type caliber player. Now he's kind of dropped off. So if I honestly had to lean something here, I would almost lean the Rams here +4 because I think it's going to be a real nail-biter of a game.
Yeah, I like when the better defense is getting points, even if they have a backup in there. They should play defensive. And remember Seahawks last year, they played against McCown, and what was it, 17-9? They could barely score on the Eagles, and they had McCown playing in the playoffs last year. So not impressed with the Seahawks. And then the last game we got, the Colts at the Bills -6.5. I don't really like this game. Like right away, I'm just not buying into the Bills still. I know Josh Allen's great, but I just don't trust them in the playoffs. I mean, both of these teams are improved, so that's why it's one of those things where the Bills made the playoffs last year, got bumped out early. So I think this is a type of game where Bills win the game, but I think it'll be close because I know they've been blowing teams out lately. I mean, I know everyone's going to be betting on the Bills this game. I guarantee there's going
to go way over.
Yeah, a ton of parlay teasers, everything on the Bills here, I bet. But I guess I would probably lean the over too, just because I think Josh Allen could put up points, and I think Phillip Rivers will put up enough too. I think it'll just be one of those battle type of games. What do you think about this one?
I think here when I'm looking at the Bills, I know it's like a double-edged sword. I mean, Allen's been playing really well. But then, like, if you're going to give that many points to, like, Phillip Rivers, like, I'm not a big Phillip Rivers fan either, but he's been playing pretty decent. He hasn't been as bad as I've been bashing him for the most part. But when you're looking at the Bills' defense, their worst part of their defense is their rush defense. They're 17th in rush yards per game for defense and 16th. So they've been about average defense. So it shouldn't take a whole lot to score on them. So if I had to lean something, I definitely would lean the over, even though Indy's defense is pretty solid. But I just think Josh Allen's playing on another level. He's been absolutely amazing. He's third in passing yards per game, and he's number 2, and they're number 2 in scoring offense in the NFL. So you got the number 9 scoring offense in the Colts and the number 2 scoring offense in the Bills. I mean, is this not a high enough over under? I mean, is it going to be scoring? But you know what? I'm still going to lean on the over because these unders are hard to hit nowadays with some of these teams unless you're on the right spot of things. But the over, I would definitely lean here.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a very tough game. And I don't know what the weather's going to be, too, because I just don't trust Phillip with his old arm out in the cold either. And then Josh Allen's got a strong arm. So if that has to do with weather, then definitely the Bills are winning this game, you know.
Yeah, and the Bills Mafia will be out, too. So watch out for that.
I can't wait to see them 2 weeks in a row then. I don't think it's going to go too far, but definitely down for the Bills Mafia.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that'll actually close out our show. You guys got our top picks. I got the Saints -9.5. Chris has the Ravens first half -2.5. So make sure you guys get those picks in. We've been red hot these past couple of weeks. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to our YouTube page. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Tackle the Board. You can follow my personal page at Vegas Line Reader. I give out free picks as well at Russ Reese. And Chris will give you his handles. He'll drop where you can follow him at.
All right, so you can follow me on Twitter. That's the best way to do it, at Chris Ebom. I put up all my plays for everybody. I've been red hot in college football, coming to an end. You get the national championship coming up on Sunday. I haven't released my play for that yet, but I was 62% on the complete college NFL season and 60% on the bowl games. So those are big winnings either way. And we're going to watch out for my national championship play. That's going to be coming out soon enough. And, of course, the return of PGA. The second half is beginning. Century Tournament of Champions. Going to have 42 golfers playing, no cut. You can follow me at OTT Matchups. And if you don't know what that is, that's off the team matchups. Within pretty much the beginning of the year, I've been red hot in matchup plays with parlays and everything else. I'm going to break down this tournament tomorrow, actually, on Fox Gambler with Sean Brace on the Daily Ticket. I'm going to break down what I like about this course and who I think is going to really thrive. So watch out for my golf plays because we're going to go full steam ahead.
Nice. All right, we'll check it out. And that's going to end our show. Thanks for watching, guys. And we're going to make some money this week. And we'll see you next week where we'll get you guys some more playoff winners. So let's
Absolutely. Tackle the board.